What's going on? Welcome back to Daily Football Zone. We're here with another quarterback trade that just happened earlier today. I didn't get to break it when it first happened. Too busy working my other job, but it's never too late to talk about football. So if you didn't hear by now, Matt Ryan was traded to the Indianapolis Colts. And it was kind of speculated that he was going to get traded, especially after the Deshaun Watson news. He was owed a lot of money. He had I believe it was 7.5 million roster bonus that was due later today, and I'm sure they probably both spoke, and they probably thought it was right for both camps to go separate routes. They brought in a new GM. They got a new head coach with Arthur Smith. This is a whole new regime. Matt Ryan's been there for a minute. He's been there since 2008. He was the third overall pick in the 2008 NFL draft. So I'm sure they're going different routes, and I'm not surprised by it. I didn't think it was going to be this year. I thought this is tricky because I thought maybe they'd play out his contract because he was owed so much and fairly enough to say that this probably was a bad contract because he's definitely not worth what he was originally going to be given, which was like 48 million before they reconstructed his contract. So yeah, it was kind of a bad contract in my opinion because he hasn't been playing at an elite level, especially not last season. He's kind of dipping down since his MVP year back in 2016. Still a decent quarterback, but not playing at a Patrick Mahomes or Aaron Rodgers type level, for sure not. But we can get into the trade details. We had what was it? It was a 2022 third round pick. So it was they didn't give up much for Matt Ryan, and they got a new quarterback for like what is it, the fourth straight season to like start week one. They rolled with Carson Wentz last year. He lasted only a year. Now they're going in a different direction. They bring in Matt Ryan, and I'm kind of surprised by it. I didn't think he was gonna. I didn't think it was gonna happen today. I didn't think. I think only because of the roster bonus. Now that I remember that it was the roster bonus, so yeah, that's actually not surprising. But pretty much that's Matt Ryan's, I guess you say, accolades while with the Atlanta Falcons. He was the 2016 MVP, 2016 Offensive Player of the Year. He was a first team All Pro back in 2016. As you can see, 2016 was a big year for his career. He's also a 4-time Pro Bowler. He went 120 wins, 102 losses, career record for the Atlanta Falcons since he's been in the league. And yeah, like I said, he was drafted third overall by Atlanta in 2008. He's also the Falcons franchise leader in wins, which 120 passing yards, 59,735, and also passing touchdowns, 367. I'm sure there is a lot more I could go on about Matt Ryan and maybe his franchise stats and a bunch of other little stats that I can mention, but I didn't do all my research on it, obviously. So I made this little edit and put it on here real quick. But yeah, Matt Ryan, he's going to be an Indianapolis Colt. And, we'll see what he does with that talent that they have on that offense. Of course, Jonathan Taylor is going to do what Jonathan Taylor does. He had a career year in the second year last year, so the run game is going to be cool. He still got a good O-line. It's just more of who's he going to throw the ball to. I believe they re-signed Mo Ali Cox. Then it's the receivers are kind of iffy, which is Michael Pittman Jr., Paris Campbell, who can't stay healthy, Ashton Doolin, Desmond Patman, local San Diego kid. Shout out Desmond Patman, and then Kiki Cutie. Those are just like some notable receivers that are on this team. T.Y. Hilton is a free agent. Zach Pascal recently agreed to terms with a team that I'm going to mention later on, but he wasn't really going to have much targets other than in Atlanta this year either, other than Kyle Pitts. Kyle Pitts, going into his second year, that's probably the biggest target he has as of right now in Atlanta because Calvin Ridley is suspended for the whole year for gambling. So he's left one situation to another situation that doesn't have the talent at receiver, and I'm sure Indianapolis might draft one. They could draft one. They still got a lot of talent left at receiver in the free agency that they can target. it just they can go either route, but I wouldn't want to roll with Michael Pittman Jr. as my number one, and then if it's Desmond Patman or Paris Campbell or Kiki Cutie at number two, I don't see that being likely. I'm sure they'll probably target a receiver in free agency and then possibly draft one, but I don't see that being the final guys on at receiver for them. But Matt Ryan, he can, and Colts got a good team. They got a good defense. They got a good O line. Again, Jonathan Taylor had a career year. They were close. They were in the race for the last playoff spot. They kind of fumbled at the end. Choked it when they choked out of that 7th seed when they lost to Jacksonville and then allowed the Las Vegas Raiders to sneak in on that Sunday night game against the Chargers. Also the Steelers as well. They also were able to sneak in, but they're not a bad team. And Carson Wentz is Carson Wentz, and he got shipped out of there. They didn't like his leadership, and I'm not to blame. Carson Wentz don't seem like I definitely wouldn't want him leading my team. That's just me. But they gave up a lot for Carson Wentz, which I thought was too much. And then because that ended up being like a first round pick they gave up, and then you eventually just ship him off a year later, and then you go and you get Matt Ryan, who's pretty much at the end of his career to begin with. He's not obviously past his prime. A good player though. I mean, he's thrown for over 4,000 yards in 10 out of 14 seasons with Atlanta, so he's still got some ball left in him, but not that much time. And this will be it probably for Matt Ryan. I don't see him being able to take a team to the Super Bowl as he gets older. Like this is like probably the best shot he's going to have to try and contend for a Super Bowl. And now he's going into a hard division, a hard conference, not division, but conference, where they literally just got Russell Wilson added to that conference. There's a lot of good quarterbacks, a lot of good talent in the AFC now. And you got Deshaun Watson that went to Cleveland, and Raiders are making moves with Devontae Adams and adding Chandler Jones, and Chargers are adding talent on their defense. So he's going into a conference that has a lot of talent on both sides of the ball. So it'll be interesting to see what Indianapolis can do. And they're going to be competing with obviously the Titans, who they just traded for Robert Woods, which I didn't get to speak on that back when I was talking on my last episode when I went over the Matthew Stafford contract extension. I didn't get to mention that because it literally happened about maybe 20 minutes after I made that video. But yeah, they just traded for Robert Woods. They still got AJ Brown. Derrick Henry's going to come back. Ryan Tannehill is Ryan Tannehill. So that's going to be a really competitive division too, other than Jacksonville and Houston. But between Tennessee and Indianapolis, for sure, that's going to be competing for who's going to be the number one team in that division. But yeah, I'm also just surprised that they did move on from Matt Ryan, because they are going to take on a $40.5 million dead cap. So that's the most in NFL history. So that's why it's kind of tricky situation due to Matt Ryan's contracts. Like, you're going to either eat up a lot of money or you're going to ride it out with him. And then knowing that they had all this trade speculations for Deshaun Watson, how does Matt Ryan feel now? And does Matt Ryan want to, leave or be part of this kind of, like, I guess you could say, obviously now it's a rebuild in Atlanta. Does he want to be a part of that, or does he want to move on? And I'm sure both camps spoke to each other about it, and they went their way and decided to move on. But yeah, Matt Ryan, he is now an Indianapolis Colt. It seems like they have a new quarterback at starting week 1 of each season since Andrew Luck retired. That's crazy, but they decided to move on from Carson Wentz after 1 year. That's their decision. But yeah, Matt Ryan, the 4-time Pro Bowler, the 2016 MVP, made to the Super Bowl. We all know about 28-3, but he's now a Colt. The Falcons are gonna figure out what they're gonna do at quarterback, and that's also the concern, because you only have Josh Rosen, and I can't remember who's behind Josh Rosen, another nobody, but you have Josh Rosen. Obviously, Josh Rosen is not going to be the starter. If they do, that'd be kind of. I think Arthur Smith should be fired. I guess some people say Josh Rosen hasn't been given a chance, but he's had enough chances to be in the league as long as he's been now and still not be able to show that he's a damn starting quarterback. He's had enough then. But it'll be kind of curious to see what they decide to do, if they just decide to trade for Baker Mayfield, or target a quarterback in the draft. They're at I think the 9th overall pick. No. They're like the seventh or eighth. So they can draft one, trade back, maybe draft one later rounds because that's not a great quarterback class to begin with. So I'll be curious. I'm curious to see what Atlanta will do at the quarterback position as the weeks come by. The draft's coming by. The draft's coming up soon. It's still free agents out there that they can pick up. If it's Cam Newton, if it's Andy Dalton, which there's not a lot of quarterbacks left in free agency either. So we can get straight into some quarterbacks that were signed today, which is first we can talk about Saints re-signing quarterback Jameis Winston. They're giving Jameis Winston a 2-year deal worth $28 million, and $21 million of that is guaranteed. So he's getting obviously not spectacular quarterback money, but he's getting decent money coming off injury. He's getting 21 million of it's guaranteed, so I'm sure he's happy with that. He started 7 games last year before tearing his ACL, and also I guess there's MCL damage as well. But he had he was 5-2 in those games, so it looked like the Saints started off hot, and they kind of once they got hurt, they kind of sizzled away, and that was also obviously a big blow to their offense. They didn't have Michael Thomas, and Winston gets hurt. Alvin Kamara can only do so much. Their defense is their defense. They still got Cameron. Well, they had Cameron Jordan last year, and Marcus Williams and Demario Davis. But yeah, they kind of went downhill after Winston's injury, which sucked because he had a 14-3 touchdown to interception ratio, and a lot of people want to talk about Winston and the turnovers and that one season where he threw 30 picks, and I get that, but yeah, he looked like he was starting off hot last year, and he threw nearly 1,200 yards. He was about 1176 or something like that. I can't remember the exact stat, but he nearly threw for 1,200 yards, 14-3 touchdown to interception ratio, 5-2 as a starter. No kidding that they're gonna go bring Winston back, especially since they missed out on Deshaun Watson. That's not a bad signing, and hopefully get to see what Winston can do in a full season for the Saints. He's not going to be with Sean Payton no more. You got Dennis Allen, but I'm sure it's still going to be somewhat a similar offense. So, kind of curious to see what Jameis Winston does in his second year with New Orleans. But we can jump straight into the next signing, which is Matt Ryan's replacement. Which I'm surprised I didn't get. I didn't bring it up in the Matt Ryan segment I had because I wanted to talk about it now. They signed Marcus Mariota to a 2-year deal worth $18.75 million. He's been the backup for Las Vegas for the past 2 years, where he hasn't really thrown the ball much. 2020, he had like 200 something yards, and then last year I think it was only 4 yards. He was also hurt last year. He got hurt. I know he got hurt for maybe it was like a 50-yard run on. I think it was the Monday night game against the Ravens. He rushed for like 50 yards, and then he got hurt and he missed several weeks after that. So, and he's back up to Derek Carr, so he wasn't going to see that much playing time unless they're running some type of trick plays with Mariota at quarterback. But he obviously doesn't have the stats from the past 2 years, but he's the number 2 overall pick in 2015 in the 2015 draft, and Jameis Winston being the first overall. So excuse me, but it's funny. Yeah, we're talking about the first and second overall picks in the 2015 NFL draft being signed to the teams right now, onto which is Winston's second team, and then this is Mariota's now third team in the league. But speaking of 2015 draft picks, that's where we get into the Bengals releasing cornerback Trey Waynes, who he was on his second team, but he only started 4 games for Cincinnati in 2021. He's been injured both seasons for Cincinnati since he joined in 2020. Yeah, he was the 11th overall pick in 2015 by Minnesota. But they're deciding to move on. They already got enough talent at the cornerback position to begin with. I mean, they can do a little better. Obviously, they can always improve, but not worth paying Trey Waynes the money that he's due if he's not going to play. But making this move saved Cincinnati $10.9 million, but it will eat $5 million in dead cap. But I'm sure both camps would like to go separate ways. He's at a point in his career where he's probably not gonna receive a big contract unless he plays to earn it, but he hasn't been healthy. So we'll see what the future holds for Trey Waynes. But we got a couple more I wanted to talk about, and that's running back Duke Johnson heading to the Buffalo Bills. He started 4 games for Miami in 2021. He rushed over 300 yards. Just a solid def addition. You still got Devin Singletary and Zach Moss in that backfield, so he's going to compete for snaps. Obviously, we'll see if something happens. He might be one of these signings that might not even make it past the preseason. You never know. He had a decent. Obviously, he's playing behind Myles Gaskin at times, and they have a somewhat of a loaded backfield in Miami. But yeah, he rushed for over 300 yards, a couple touchdowns, and he's on to his next team in Buffalo. Now we can talk about Zach Pascal, that he is out of Indy, which Matt Ryan won't be targeting, but he agrees on terms to a 1-year deal with the Eagles. Jalen Hurts can use more talent at the receiver position. Devontae Smith will be in his second season, but solid depth. He had 38 receptions in 2021. Not spectacular, but he's a veteran piece. He's going into his 5th season. He knows the game by now. He can be he could be utilized in Philadelphia. But the last signing we got is fullback Patrick Ricard, Mr. Project Pat, according to the Baltimore Ravens. Shout out Project Pat, both Project Pats. But he signed a 3-year deal. He's a 3-time Pro Bowler, and he's a fan favorite from what I know. So I'm sure a lot of Raven fans are stoked to bring Patrick Ricard back. He's utilized a lot in that especially the run game, because they run the ball a lot with Lamar Jackson and their running backs. Hopefully all their running backs that they have had stay healthy next year, because they had a lot of injuries at the running back position this year, where they had to sign guys like Le'Veon Bell. So hopefully all their running backs can stay healthy and see the field this year, and have Patrick Ricard block for him this year. I'm sure that he'll want all those backs back, like Gus Edwards and J.K. Dobbins. Justice Hill, I think, was one too that got hurt. So there's a lot of injuries in that backfield, and you got Lamar Jackson, who also runs. So I'm glad the Baltimore Ravens were able to lock him in on a 3-year deal. But yeah, that's pretty much all I got for y'all. Before I head out, there was a couple more signings that recently happened. I didn't really get a chance to edit any photos about it, but Jamison Crowder signed with the Buffalo Bills on a 1-year deal, and then they also re-signed veteran quarterback Matt Barkley, who spent some time in Buffalo. The Raiders signed linebackers Micah Kaiser and Kyler Fackrell, and also re-signed offensive tackle Brandon Parker. Matt Breida, the veteran running back, signed with the New York Giants. Jaguars re-signed former first-round pick Laquan Treadwell, and then former first-round pick Mike Hughes, the cornerbacks heading to the Detroit Lions, staying in the NFC North. So that's pretty much all I got for you. Didn't want to do a long episode. Just wanted to let y'all know there's been some. I guess you could say majority is. That's pretty much the biggest news that came out today on Monday, March 21st. Looking to grow, looking to get better at these videos too. I appreciate everybody that does tune in. Appreciate all the likes, all the comments, all the feedback I get. Not if it's not on my YouTube video, it's to me personally. I hoping to do more content. I plan on releasing my first mock draft, doing a mock draft video on Thursday, aiming for Thursday, maybe Friday. I know I plan on doing Daily Football Zone live with the crew, and also do a mock draft where we come together and do a mock draft together. You can stay tuned to that. That'll probably happen, if not this week, maybe next week. So we got a lot of content coming up for Daily Football Zone. Obviously, just got to keep putting out more videos, keep putting out content. I love when people engage with our tweets on Twitter. We just eclipsed 2,000 followers on Twitter, hoping to gain more. I plan on doing a giveaway for that. Maybe within the next week, I'll announce that. But we plan on doing a giveaway for that. If you like the video, please give us a thumbs up, subscribe, leave a comment, share it to your friends, share it to your family. Anyone that's a big football fanatic like us, like me, like you that's watching, sharing the video goes a long way. It also gives you guys a chance to engage with each other on the video, on the comments, and also on our lives. You can always join our lives and leave us feedback and leave us comments, and of course we'll put it up on air, and we'll react obviously to what y'all have to say. But until then, I hope y'all have a great night, and looking forward to see you in the next episode. See you.